What's up guys, Nick True here, and in this video we're going to be covering the 4 things you need to do at the end of every single month in YNAB to get you ready for the next month. We'll be dealing with overspending, what to do if you have money left over in a category, should you leave it there and roll it over or move it to another category, and a couple more necessary things for your end of month YNAB checklist. Plus, we're also going to keep this video short and sweet, which if you've seen any of my other YNAB videos, you'll know is a welcome change. So with all that said, let's jump in. Alright, so the first thing that you have to do at the end of the month in YNAB is to reconcile all of your accounts on the left. One of the big mistakes that people make at the end of the month is they start on the budget screen and they want to deal with all of their categories. But we can't deal with all of this until we are 100% sure that all of our accounts are squared away perfectly. Now, for the purposes of this tutorial, we're going to be going from March to April. So we're finishing up March and then we're heading into April. That's how we're going to run it. So let's just start with the Discover It account and Reconcile. So what does reconciling mean? Well, reconciling your accounts in YNAB simply just means that they perfectly align with that of your bank account. This is super important whether you are automatically syncing your transactions or manually entering everything. You still need to come in here and reconcile on a regular basis, especially at the end of a month. Up top, you're going to notice 3 different things: a cleared, uncleared, and a working balance. The cleared balance is what has actually posted to your account. The uncleared balance are those transactions that haven't posted yet, and the working balance is the combination of the two. It's the balance that you'll have on your card or on your account when all of these uncleared transactions finally post. Now, if you are automatically syncing your transactions, you will rarely have an uncleared balance. Basically, everything will be cleared because YNAB is not going to pull your transactions in until they have cleared. But if you're manually tracking things or you're entering some things in manually, that's when you're going to have uncleared transactions. Now, the way we do this is by pulling up our Discover account in real life and checking it against our Discover account in YNAB. Now, for the purposes of this tutorial, let me show you. All of these are fake. This is real. So this is fake. It does not perfectly match. It's what I created for this tutorial. This is actually my real Discover card. So here's what I do. I'll pull this over here, just like so. Kind of get YNAB over here. So now I will scroll down and look at my recent activity. Now you'll notice these are all my pending transactions. So these are what YNAB would consider uncleared transactions. They haven't actually posted to the card yet. Whereas you'll see down here, these transactions have actually posted and it shows my running balance on the card as I go. Now in YNAB, we differentiate between cleared and uncleared by this little C over here. So some of these are green, which means they have cleared, and some of these are gray, which means they have not cleared. Now, if you manually enter your transactions, this is where we're going to check the account in YNAB versus the account in real life. So we would come over here and we would say, okay, this Walmart transaction, has this posted to Discover? Oh, yes, it has. Boom, clear it. Has Waffle House posted? Yes, clear it. Frothy Monkey, clear it. Walmart, clear it. You get the idea. We're going to pretend for the purposes of this tutorial that all of these transactions have cleared. So we'll clear them all. Now, the last thing that you're going to do before you reconcile this account is simply check, does this balance match this balance? Now, again, for this tutorial, we know that these are all fake and this is real. They have nothing to do with each other, but we're going to pretend that it does. So in this case, we would say, oh, yes, it does match. So come over here, click Reconcile Account. It's going to ask us, hey, is this your current balance? And we will say, yes, it is. Now, YNAB just simply hid all of the transactions that are reconciled. So if I click Show All here, you'll see that now all of these transactions have this green lock, which means that they are not only cleared, but you have actually reconciled the account. Now, I'm planning to do a tutorial in the future all about reconciling and what to do if this balance doesn't match that balance and how to justify it. But that's going to come down the road. For now, all you need to do is go through and reconcile every single one of these accounts. So we're not going to walk through every account on this tutorial. I'm going to speed up and get to the next step, but that is step number 1. So now all of our accounts are fully reconciled. We're ready to jump into the budget. And the second thing that we need to do at the end of the month is deal with any overspending that we have inside of our categories. Now you'll notice there's a couple different types of overspending, so let's briefly run through the colors again. If you have a green in the available column inside of a category, that means that you have money left over. We're going to deal with this in just a second. Now, if you see a red negative number, that means that you have overspent a category in cash or in debit. In this particular case, I budgeted $223 for car insurance, but I was a little bit off, and my bill was actually $225.25. Now, if I click here, I can see that this transaction happened inside my checking account, which is why the overspending is a red negative. So I need to cover this from money that is left over. Well, it just so happens that I've got a little bit of money left over in electric, so I could move that down to my car insurance. Then I'm still a little off by 2 cents, so maybe I'll take that from leftover money in groceries. Click here and cover the spending with groceries. Okay. Now you'll also notice that you can have negative overspending in orange or yellow if you're colorblind like me. In this case, I budgeted $200 for gas and I spent $226.55. If I click here, I can see that it was all done on the Discover card, which is why this overspending shows up as orange with this little credit card symbol right here. Now, just scrolling through my categories, I have some money left over elsewhere, so I could definitely pull from those categories, but I want to show you one thing that could be throwing you off in particular. If you look up here beside your to be budgeted, you'll notice that you have a couple different numbers up here, and a lot of us don't know what they mean, so let's briefly cover them. This top number here just tells you how much income you had that came into YNAB, into your budget for March. So in March, we had $3,600 come in. This number is typically pulled from the previous month, and it has to do with any red overspending in particular that you ended the month with. We didn't do that in February, which is why this is 0. You normally want this number to be 0. Then you can see that we only budgeted $34.50. But that seems funny because we actually have a to be budgeted of 0. And that's because we actually took $150 from the funds of March and budgeted them into the future. So again, we had $3,600 come in. We only gave jobs to $34.50, which means that we made $150 go into April. And if we look ahead in April, we can see that we put $50 here on the electric bill and $100 here towards the rent. So what I can do, in fact, is I can actually cover this overspending with money from April. So what I can do is just simply type in to be budgeted, and this will pull ahead from April. And you'll see that this number now goes down, this budgeted in the future. And I had overspending on household items, so I'm going to do that again there as well. Same thing down here for social and eating out, to be budgeted, and date night eating out, to be budgeted. And now we can see that we did budget $150 into the future, and now we've only budgeted $90.75 into the future. Now let's get back to the colors. You can see that we have covered all of our red overspending, and we've also covered all of our orange overspending. So actually, we've covered all the overspending, but we still have some orange numbers. So what's going on here? Now remember that orange just simply means, hey, you should pay attention to this. So in YNAB, red means deal with this now. Orange means, hey, pay attention. And green means you have plenty of money left over and you are good to go. So in this case, you can see that this orange has a little pie chart right here. And that means that we've set a goal for this category, but that we are slightly off. We have actually a $50 monthly goal for electric. And since we only budgeted $47.77, because that's all the bill was, YNAB is actually alerting us and saying, hey, you just might want to see this, but you're off by your goal. In this case, I really don't care because I'm happy to just budget what the electric bill is, and we use that money to cover the overspending that we had on our car insurance. So I'm fine to end the month with this orange just like it is. Same thing with groceries. Same thing with laundromat. So that's the second thing you have to do at the end of every single month is cover all of your overspending and really try to end the month with 0 overspending going into the next month. Okay, now let's move on to number 3, which is to deal with any leftover money that you have in all of your categories. So when it comes to leftover money in a category, which is all these green numbers you see in the available column here, we basically have 3 options. We can either first just leave it and let it roll over into April. The second thing we could do is simply move it to a bigger goal that we have, like maybe a savings category or a debt pay down category if we're really trying to kill our debt. And the third thing we could do is move this money up to be budgeted and then go into April with extra money to use basically anywhere that we would like. What I like to do is just start at the top, work my way all the way down to the bottom, and ask which of those 3 things I want to do with every single category. And it doesn't have to take that long. Credit card payments, we know that we don't want to touch these, okay? These money need to stay there so that we can actually pay off our credit card bills. Now, if you don't know how credit cards work, I highly recommend checking out my YNAB specific credit card guide. It will explain why we don't want to touch this money and how credit cards work inside of YNAB. So skipping over those, let's see what we get to next. Now you'll notice that even though this is orange, we have money left in groceries. Groceries is one of those categories that I actually don't care to try and roll over and build up money. So I'm actually going to move this down to one of my savings goals, maybe like a down payment for a house. Clothing, I also don't care about that, so I'm going to move it down to one of our savings goals as well. Now, propane, this is one of those categories that we actually may want to roll over, and here's why. You want to roll over categories that you think you're going to need in the future and you actually want to build up a base in. With things like propane or electric, those bills tend to fluctuate over the year because some months it's really hot and some months it's really cold. So with propane, because we live in a camper, we use propane a lot during the wintertime and we don't use it nearly that much in the summertime. So if I have money left over, I like to let it just roll over and build up a nice little slush fund, a little extra in this propane account so that when the winter comes and we are consistently spending more than we typically budget, we have some extra in there from the previous months so we can go get our propane without really breaking the budget. I'll do the same thing with the laundromat and cosmetics. This is also one of those things because we don't always buy the same amount of makeup or deodorant or toothpaste or toothbrushes month to month, so I'm going to let this roll over as well. We always let our individual spending roll over. You can see in this example, I have 1 penny left that I get to go into April with, and Hannah has $8 left that she can go into April with. Unexpected expenses. This is one that I will not let roll over. I will actually go ahead and use this. So let's talk about that third thing, right? We said we can move it down to another goal, we can let it roll over, or we can move it up here to our to be budgeted, and then actually just go into April with a little extra money. This is a savings goal, so we're going to leave it. Auto maintenance, we're going to let that roll over because, again, we want to build up accounts here. Same with medical, gifts for others, non-Christmas, we're going to let that roll over because you never know when we're going to get invited to a wedding. Giving, we shouldn't be ending the month with giving, so in this example, maybe that's bad. Should have given that, and then emergency savings, of course, we will leave as well. Ultimately, it's your money and you get to decide what you want to do. So one of three things. Do you want to let the money sit there and build up a base in that category? Do you want to use it to build up your savings or your debt pay down? Or do you want to just move it to be budgeted and then go into the next month with some extra money up here that you can just start totally fresh and decide what you want to do with that money? Speaking of going into the next month, we are actually ready and completely done with March at this point. We have reconciled all of our accounts, we've dealt with all the overspending we have, and we've made decisions about the extra money we have in categories. So we're ready to go into the next month and start budgeting. At this point, the fourth step is just simply take this money and budget towards all of our goals that we have and get as far as we can for our needs in April. Now, if you're curious about how I've set up all of my categories, category groups, and goals, I recommend checking out my YNAB beginner's guide video. I go through in great detail how to set up all of this and get yourself a nice, what YNAB calls budget template, which is goals for all of your categories, which make budgeting these dollars really, really simple. Here's what I mean. At this point, we're ready to just basically go as far as we can. So we've got $1,750-ish. I'm going to select electric, go down here to the 10th because I know I'm going to get another paycheck after that, and click underfunded. Now I am fully funded for all of the needs in my fixed bills. Now we're ready to go down here to groceries. So I'm going to take that and put 200 there, gets me about halfway, put 100 there, put, maybe 50 here, go ahead and hit that goal target. I know I'm going to need propane, for example, so I'll put 50 there. You kind of get the idea. The last step is to just simply budget all these dollars, give all these dollars a job, get as far as you can into April, and make sure that you are totally covered and ready with as much money as you have available. So that is the fourth step. Now that we have our to be budgeted down to zero, we've given every dollar a job, we're ready to just start paying bills, living our normal life, and waiting for that next paycheck so that we can then budget all of those dollars and just keep on YNABing. Alright, so there you have it. You should be doing these 4 things at the end of every single month in YNAB going forward. If you're interested, you can download the end of month checklist as well as my other YNAB checklists using the link in the description down below. These checklists are there to ensure that you get the most out of YNAB and the most out of your budget. As always, subscribe to this channel for more videos just like this if you're serious about getting ahead with your money. And just remember, I can teach you how to budget, but I can't make you do it. The choice is yours. I'll see y'all next time.